So let's get right into it. Why do so many businesses, even ones with fantastic ideas, end up failing? It's the question that keeps entrepreneurs tossing and turning at night, right? Let's figure it out. Well, here's the surprising truth. It's rarely one big, catastrophic event. It's not some dramatic, movie-style collapse from a single bad deal or a flopped product launch. That's just not how it usually goes down. No, failure is usually something much quieter, way more sneaky. It's more like a slow decay, caused by a whole series of these hidden enemies, these silent killers that just eat away at a company from the inside. And that's exactly what we're going to do in this explainer. We're putting these 10 silent killers right under the microscope. Because once you understand them, you can learn to spot them, and more importantly, you can learn how to stop them in their tracks. We've actually grouped them into 3 main areas to make it easier to digest. First up, we're going to look at the flawed blueprint. That's all about your core strategy. Then we'll dive into the broken machine, the day-to-day operations. And finally, we'll check out the silent megaphone, which is all about how your business actually communicates with the world. So, let's start at the very foundation, the flawed blueprint. This is all about the big picture thinking, the strategy, the mindset. Because look, if your plan is shaky from the get-go, everything you build on top of it is going to be shaky too. The very first killer is a lack of clear vision. I want you to imagine a ship leaving a harbor with no map and no destination. It just drifts. For a business, that means every single decision from who you hire to how you market, it's all just random. There's no North Star, and the business just ends up going around in circles. Next up, we've got the fear of risk and change. And this is such a paradox, isn't it? Because trying to play it safe is often the riskiest move you can possibly make. The market is always moving. Your customers' needs are always evolving. So if you're just standing still, you're not really standing still. You're actually falling behind. And that flows perfectly into our third killer, a lack of continuous learning. The idea that what worked for you yesterday is going to work for you tomorrow, that is a fatal assumption. The second a business stops learning from its customers, from its competitors, from its own mistakes, is the second it starts to become irrelevant. So here's the bottom line for this section. A successful blueprint, it's built on 3 pillars: having a clear vision, adapting to change, and always, always learning. The alternative, as you can see so clearly here, is just a recipe for failure, defined by randomness, stagnation, and eventually getting left in the dust. Okay, but what happens when a brilliant blueprint crashes into the messy reality of running a business day to day? Well, that brings us to our second category, the broken machine. This is where the rubber meets the road. It's all about the people and the processes that are supposed to make everything happen. And this section is absolutely packed with some of the deadliest killers out there. We're going to talk about how money gets handled, how teams are led, the systems, or lack thereof, that are in place, and even the mindsets that can totally sabotage everything. Killer number 4, poor financial management. Man, this one is ruthless. Cash flow is the literal oxygen of a business. When you start mixing personal and business funds, or you get your pricing wrong, or you just have no idea where the money is going, you're basically cutting off your own air supply. And often, you don't even realize it until it's way too late. And then there's weak leadership. You can have an amazing team, truly top-tier talent, but with a poor leader, it's like having a Ferrari driven by someone who's blindfolded. Without clear direction, good communication, and the right people doing the right jobs, productivity just tanks and everyone gets frustrated. Oh, this next one is huge. A lack of systems and structure. You know, if the entire business depends on the founder doing absolutely everything, you don't really have a business. What you have is a very, very high-stress job. Without processes that can be repeated and scaled, growth is literally impossible. You become the bottleneck that chokes your own company. Killer number 7, procrastination and indiscipline. In the business world, things move so fast. Windows of opportunity can be incredibly small. So when you delay making a tough call or you just fail to execute a plan, you're not just kicking the can down the road, you are actively handing an advantage right to your competitor. And finally, for this section, we have overconfidence and ego. This might be the sneakiest killer of them all, because it convinces you that you already have all the answers. It makes you deaf to what your customers are telling you and blind to shifts in the market. And it leads you straight into making these totally preventable and often catastrophic mistakes. So let's say your blueprint is solid and your internal machine is running smoothly. Fantastic. But there is one more massive piece to this puzzle. How does your business actually connect with the outside world? And that brings us to our final category, The silent megaphone. Killer number 9 is inconsistent marketing. It's really simple. You could invent the most revolutionary product the world has ever seen, but if nobody knows it exists, it might as well not. Marketing isn't something you just do when sales are down. It needs to be the constant, steady drumbeat that tells the world, hey, we're here and we have something valuable for you. And our 10th and final silent killer is poor customer service. In our super connected world, your customers are your most powerful marketing channel, for better or for worse. A great experience gets shared, sure, but a bad one? That gets shouted from the digital rooftops, poisoning your reputation and scaring away future business before you even get a chance. Let's just pause on this for a second, because this quote really gets to the absolute heart of the matter. Failure isn't some sudden event. It's a slow process of neglect. It's a gradual surrender to these silent enemies that we've just been talking about. So, what's the big takeaway from all this? What's the cure? It's actually pretty simple. The cure is awareness. Just recognizing that these threats exist is the first and most crucial step in defending your business from them. I mean, at the end of the day, you can't find an enemy you can't even see. And that really brings us to the final and maybe the most important question. As you look back on this list, whether it's for your own business or a company you work for or one you know, which one of these silent killers poses the greatest threat to you right now? Because just identifying it, that's the first step to beating it.